A New Lease on Life is the second episode of the first season of Will and Grace. This is, of course, directed by the wonderful James Burrows, and there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. This is only the second episode that I've seen, never seen the show before, and I definitely feel like I have a strong indication of the characters, their personalities, their relationships. Not really sure where the show is going, though, in terms of what's going to be, if any, an overarching narrative, or if we're just going to have lots of small pockets of narratives. I'm very keen to find out. And this second episode really helps to establish what things might look like. It starts off with Grace realising that she needs to move, and she wants to live with Will. But Will doesn't want to live with her, but he is thinking about it. And he also describes Jack as a frustrating roommate, so maybe it would be better to live with Grace rather than Jack. And because he's already told Grace no, she's looking for an apartment. She gets an apartment in Brooklyn. She's already signed the lease, and she plays a game that I think would be pretty good fun to play when you're moving. Guess where the furniture is going to go? And she basically does impressions of all of her furniture and where she's going to put it. I liked it. It was silly fun. It worked very well. And then Will tells Jack he has to leave, and he's going to ask Grace to move in with him. And obviously Grace has already signed her lease. I assume that there's a cooling off period after that, so she could get out of the lease. But it's still almost feeling like a little too late. Grace has already arranged for the movers, and we'll come back to Grace in a moment. Jack, though, goes to talk with Grace, and, well, he goes to return a tassel, and he meets Karen, and I loved the interaction between them. I thought it was absolutely fabulous. Really thoroughly enjoyed that moment. I hope we get a lot more scenes with Jack and Karen. We're then in Grace's new apartment. The boxes have arrived. She's starting to put mirrors and things up, and Will tells her to take the mirror and take it to his apartment, and Grace says no, that this is something she has to do, and she's going to live in her apartment. And then immediately in the next scene, she's realised she's had enough of the apartment. She's happy to move in with Will. And I really love how the final scene was executed, because Grace just turns up at Will's apartment with her suitcases and just walks through the apartment. I will say, I don't know where she's going, because the fact, and maybe we'll get answers to this, but the fact that Jack has to leave made me think that Will only has 2 bedrooms. One that Will is in and one that Jack is in. But it also seemed like Grace was just heading straight for what would be her bedroom. So does that mean there are 3 bedrooms? And if there are 3 bedrooms, why would Jack need to leave? So I assume we'll get answers to that. And maybe I'm overlooking something, I don't know. But certainly I feel like they're all going to live together. Is that what happens going forward? I don't know. I assume that's going to be the case. But I will find out in due course. And I'm looking forward to finding out. I'm enjoying it so far. It is obviously still very early days, but the style of humour is really appealing to me. I love the characters. I love the relationships between the characters. That all seems to be working really, really well. So I'm very excited to see what else is in store. Particularly excited to see what kind of stories they deal with, what kind of narratives. As I said, if there's going to be an overarching narrative. And I'm very keen to find out. Still, obviously, getting used to the characters, getting used to the setup, but it's not difficult. And I say that because there are some sitcoms where it takes me quite a while to get into them. But that's not the case here. I would say I'm enjoying it, but I don't have any strong opinions as of yet. But hopefully in due course, I will form some stronger opinions. I still think Jack is my favourite character. Although, interestingly, in this one, he came across as a little bit more selfish than he did in the first episode. So I'm not fully sure what we're going to get from his character, but time will tell. Looking forward to finding out. I think A New Lease on Life was a solid second episode, really helping to cement where we are with the characters, currently where they're living, and I'm looking forward to what's going to unfold in the rest of this season. Decent second episode. Can't wait to watch the rest.